Hi, I'm Rick, and today we're going to review this album, Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare. So this album is actually the first solo album by Alice Cooper. Wait, you say, what about those first 6 albums? All those great songs on those other albums like School's Out, I'm 18, all those crazy songs, and what about Billion Dollar Babies? Well, there's a story about that, so let me tell you about it. So the story of Alice Cooper goes something like this. Back in high school, there was going to be a talent show, and Alice, who was actually known as Vinny back in those days, and his buddies on the track team decided to enter the talent show. So the guys on the track team, him and his 3 buddies, all put on wigs and dressed up like the Beatles. None of them knew how to play the guitar or anything, so they did the tennis racket thing. You know, something like this. So they actually went on as the earwigs, and they changed the words to the songs so that they related funny type incidents with the track team. They went ahead and won, and then they decided maybe we ought to make a real band. So the guys named themselves the Earwigs at first, and they played in that way for a while. Then they went to the Spiders, and then they actually started to get some traction, and they became Nazz. Now, Nazz was also a band named by somebody else, so they figured, geez, what are we gonna do? So they decided to name themselves Alice Cooper as a band collectively. Later, when asked where that name came from, somebody had said that it was a character on Mayberry RFD. I'm not really sure about that, but sounds plausible. So the band basically focused on shock rock with a huge stage show. They had a bunch of stuff where they had birds flying out and feathers and baby dolls getting smashed, and the end scene of their giant spectacular musical was Alice Cooper getting his head chopped off in a guillotine. They actually hired a magician to help them design all these tricks. Some shows he was hung, some he was actually shoved into a guillotine and beheaded. Pretty bizarre stuff, especially back in the day. Many people say he actually invented shock rock and the whole idea of rock and roll theater. So the band put out about 6 albums, my favorite being this one, Killer. And then the guys just weren't getting along, so they kind of dissolved the band. Vinny actually changed his name from Vinny Fournier, or something like that. Fournier? Anyhow, he actually legally changed his name to Alice Cooper, so that Alice Cooper wasn't the band anymore, but it was himself. So he went solo, and this is his first solo album. The big song on it, of course, is Welcome to My Nightmare. And the ballad is called Only Women Bleed. Both of them received a lot of airplay and actually did very, very well in the charts. So this first solo album is actually a concept album. When you start at the beginning of the song with Welcome to My Nightmare, the famous horror actor, Vincent Price, guides you through a series of songs that simulate the nightmares of a child named Stephen. Kind of bizarre. And I know this is going to shock some of you, but I didn't have the greatest childhood, and everybody whines about it, but my escapism was 2 things. I loved to read and rock and roll. So I would actually sit in my bedroom and either read or turn up the stereo really loud, as loud as I could get away with anyhow. So I would sit with these headphones on like this and lay on my bed and listen to rock and roll almost all night. So one of my favorites was to actually put on Welcome to My Nightmare and start playing it through. Now, this was a long time ago. I don't think I could even drive. I think it was like 1975 or something. Anyhow, so this was one of my favorite records. When I sold all my albums, of course I sold that too. So for Christmas, I asked my girlfriend Vicky to get me that record for Christmas, and she did. And I was so excited. I put the album on and it just wasn't there. And I thought, wow, what happened? I used to love this record. So I went to YouTube and I did a search on Alice Cooper. I wanted to see if I could catch a live performance of Welcome to My Nightmare. Well, I put it on and I turned off the lights, trying to think back to how it was, and it was terrible. The show sucked. I didn't really know how to comprehend this. So early this morning, about 2 a.m., I got up and I put it on in the dark, and I just kind of let my mind go, and the magic was back. So this album, how would I rate it? Maybe 1.5 thumbs up. The album didn't really hold up very well. It does still bring back some nostalgic feelings. I enjoyed listening to it in the dark at 2 a.m. Is it something I'm going to put on in the middle of the day? No. Anyhow, that's my review this week. If you like it, give me some thumbs up in the like button. Go ahead and hit subscribe and notifications and give me comments and all that kind of good stuff. I will get back to you. Thanks. Have a great day.